The title of our project is Be Yourself, and this is about the idea that art is a visual language. Consider, how do you communicate facts about yourself using symbols, icons, and images? Now, we are surrounded by artistic imagery. These are photographs from somebody's wedding. This is the design for a cover of a laptop, and they do include visual imagery that communicate an idea. So what is a symbol? It's something that visually represents something else. A symbol can be a word, an object, a drawing, a material such as diamonds or sand, a place such as your home or a school or a city or a state. And when we look at a symbol, we attach meaning to it. We do this automatically because we want to make sense of our world. And we're often taught the meaning of certain symbols, though. So this is an example of a very popular symbol, which is a peace sign. At some point in your life, you have learned what this symbol means. You probably can't remember, though, when you learned about this symbol. So this symbol represents the idea of recycling or reusing. And when we see this symbol, we know this is where we need to drop off our cans and plastic bottles in order for them to be recycled. What is an icon? An icon is kind of like a symbol. It's something that is a representative symbol of something else. So for example, this is supposed to represent Mickey Mouse, but we can also look at this as an icon for the Disney company. This is an apple with a bite cut out of it, but we also know that this is an icon of the Apple company, which sells computers and phones. And then while this does look like just a panda bear, this is actually the symbol for WWF, which is the World Wildlife Federation. Sometimes icons are recognizable, but only if you know what it represents. So these are common icons that communicate about Mexico or South America. But if you've never been to those countries or you don't know anything about that area, you may not know what all of these represent. For example, you might assume the flamingo represents Florida or the cactus represents Arizona. And sometimes icons are only recognizable once you have learned more about them. For example, these icons relate to the idea of astronomy and space exploration. Whether it is 2D art or 3D art, art is a visual language that uses symbols, icons, and images or objects to communicate ideas. So what does this symbol mean? Hopefully you knew that this means Starbucks. That's okay if you didn't. It's a place people often grab coffee, but we know that Starbucks sells other types of drinks as well. It's an American company that's actually based in Seattle, Washington. It's always a popular trend, and the company of Starbucks is always trying to stay trendy, so people keep coming back and spending their money there. It's also familiar, so even if you go to China or Japan, you will find a Starbucks there, and maybe it does give you a sense of relief. If you're looking for a place to grab some drink or you want some caffeine, you're probably going to find something that's familiar and you're like, oh, I know Starbucks. I know what they have. I know their menu. And at the same time, Starbucks, the symbol of Starbucks can also mean we're going to satisfy your thirst or craving for whatever you'd like to have to drink. What does this symbol mean? While it looks like a duck, this is actually a rubber duck or rubber ducky. It's a toy often used in the bath by children, and we may associate a rubber ducky with bathing, which would mean cleanliness, right? You're keeping yourself clean by taking a bath. This could also represent childhood because this is a common bath toy played with by children, but that's okay if you never played with a rubber ducky when you were a child. There's actually a song from Sesame Street about rubber ducky. It's written by Ernie. It's the song Rubber Ducky, you're the one, quack, quack, you make bath time lots of fun. And we could argue that rubber ducks are actually from Western popular culture, like as a symbol, because there's no guarantee other parts of the world also played with rubber duckies when they were children. So some symbols can only be understood in certain cultures. These are symbols used by the Aborigines, who were the native people of Australia. And some symbols can only be understood in certain cultures, such as these road signs. Now, this one we can find in the Bay Area of California. These are road signs you can find all over America. But if you're driving in another country, such as Germany, their road signs will be different. So you may have a harder time understanding what the symbols mean. Why use symbols in art? So we consider them as visual messages. They're easy to read because they do not require words. You don't have to worry about the native language when you're looking at symbols. And art uses many symbols. And as I said, art uses symbols, but sometimes we don't know what everything represents. Now, this is a painting. This painting is titled Death in Masks. It was painted in 1897 by James Ensor. And it might be hard to tell what's going on here, but we definitely recognize a skull. In art, skulls are symbols used for death. And there are faces here that are kind of like masks, and we don't know which ones are masks or which ones are the real face. Masks are meant to disguise feelings or a person, right? Masks can serve as a symbol. Masks can also serve as a symbol for covering up, right? You're trying to cover up something. Sculpture uses symbols as well. This is the Statue of Liberty, which can be found in New York City. It can represent freedom and American values. Again, these are symbols that we understand from America, but other countries may not understand what the Statue of Liberty represents. It's meant to be a guiding light, and it can represent the friendship between America and France because France actually gifted the Statue of Liberty to America. So your assignment, you're going to create a hexagon shadow box that incorporates personal imagery, symbols and icons, that communicates information about you. This is about your identity and what makes you you. These are a few completed examples. So what is a shadow box? It's a display case meant to display items in a thematic grouping. For example, this shadow box stores an American flag and the medals this person earned. This one is supposed to represent good memories, right, like ticket stubs. And shadow boxes often have several layers, hence the term shadow. These ones are made out of paper. And this one also has layering, but also contains items that are related, such as about the birth of this child. So first of all, you're going to start with a mind map. We're going to brainstorm words to give you ideas and inspire you for the objects and imagery you could use. So on this mind map, you're going to write your name. Make sure you write your name here as well. And you're going to brainstorm. You're just going to put words that you associate with each topic. This is just to give you ideas. So when planning your mind map, you could represent your favorite sports, favorite brand, your future career, something from your past, maybe something related to your ethnicity or hobby, favorite hobbies you have, maybe a favorite place for vacation or a favorite animal, skills you have or skills you'd like to develop, future college, or even where you're from. Now, there are some requirements for this project. We're not really using any words. We're going to use imagery and symbols to represent everything, though you could, of course, use a word if you want to use this to say the name of a country or a brand. We must incorporate at least 4 objects to represent you. That means we need at least 4 images or drawings, no more than 5 because the physical space gets a little cramped. The objects do need to pop out from the surface. I'll show you how to do that. They should not be glued flat onto the background because that kind of negates the point of having a shadow box. And craftsmanship does count for this project. The shadow box should be cut out properly, assembled properly, and glued neatly together. So this is my example Be Yourself box. You have a background, I have the sides, there's the back side. And so I included the Sleeping Beauty castle because my favorite place to go is Disneyland. I have a stack of books because I enjoy reading, and I have a paintbrush and a pencil to represent that I like drawing and painting, and there is a paint palette in the back. My example does include the shelf, which is part of the template. These are some other examples here, and you can see how parts of it actually stick out. And you don't have to see the entire object in the frame of the box. You can see how part of this sunflower was cut off. This one, as you can see, it has a few words, but those are words that relate to what the student is representing. This one has definitely a lot more layering involved, and you can see even like there's a boat in there. And this one also has much more layering. I believe it goes this way, but there is a shelf in there, it's hard to see. So after you finish your mind map, make sure you show this to Miss J, and she's going to give you the sketching worksheet. So step number 2 is making a plan. You're going to choose 4 to 5 words from your mind map to illustrate. The words should help tell a story about you. This is not the final drawing. This is just a sketch. And as you can see, there are 2 possibilities. You can create the drawings for including the shelf, or you can create the drawings without the shelf. You're not having to do 2 sketches, just complete 1. So there's an example sketch. This person has a Kermit painting with a teacup and art supplies, and you can see how they arranged it. So you do have to figure out how this is going to be arranged, but this does not need to be super detailed drawing. So you're going to need to see me for this worksheet. This is what you're going to use to plan and sketch your ideas. You don't have to complete both, but if you want to include a shelf, again, this is supposed to represent the shelf, you would do your drawings on this side. But we need to have at least 4 ideas, 4 images. And so for mine, I was thinking of doing something with Hawaii. I'm a Ravenclaw because I enjoy reading Harry Potter, and Virgo, and I'm from California. So I actually went ahead and sketched out, I have the Ravenclaw bird with it standing on top of the scarf. I have the Virgo symbol here for the zodiac. I added more to my drawing. So this is my initial plan. I added the flip-flops to represent Hawaii, because when you're in Hawaii, you often wear flip-flops. And I added the California poppy, which is the state flower of California. And you can see how things are actually already layered, because I'm already thinking about how that this is going to be a shadow box. Things are going to be layered. Once I've approved your drawing, you're going to need to see me to give you the shadow box template. It has been printed on cardstock colored paper, and that's what you're going to work on next. When you're ready, make sure you watch my demonstration on how to construct the hexagon box.